One day you may recount grand tales of glory in the arena.
Father and husband Gabinius is off in Rome, frequently trying to shape what is a rapidly crumbling empire. His wife, who is often the woman behind the scenes in his politics, is in a difficult situation with her daughter, who's been in bereavement for over a year, or about a year, and she desperately wants to get her back out into society and rematch her. And she's really trying to force her daughter's process ahead of her daughter's wanting.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. It's certainly for Viridia. She had her own household and her own husband and her own life, and now she has regressed into once more being the child. But she's not a little girl; she's an adult woman, and navigating the relationships with her parents, and certainly the relationship with Cossutia, her mother, I think comes at a really interesting point in her evolution.
I suspecteth that she doth. And so, it behooved me to come up with something fun and juicy to play with. And it made sense to me. Psychologically, I really want to understand why a character does what they do. And we might not know for sure because it's in Stephen's head. But it helped me come up with something that seemed to fill the world with deeper understanding of her. And so, no villain ever thinks they're the villain. So I think she feels very justified in the way that she treats him. But he really is becoming an ever increasing threat to her own well-being, so she believes, because if there is this inexorable pull between Viridia and he, then it doesn't bode well for her or her daughter as far as she's concerned.
I think her meeting Ashur, as you say, comes in a point where she's going to have to make a choice as to whether to re-enter the world or not. And she's faced with this man who has faced his own trials and tribulations and been constrained by his own place in society. And I think she sees a potential in him, and there's a like-mindedness between them. And he sees a potential in Achillia, in this gladiatrix. He sees women as, the women in the society can have a different place and a different position. And I think that speaks to something deep within her, that actually maybe she can be more than just a wife or just a pretty thing. And instead she could actually have agency and sovereignty. And I think he reignites something of that within her and pulls her out of her grief.
Very much so, because the decisions that Gabinius makes with regard to the powerful triumvirate of Rome will shape what resources they have, and resources everywhere are dwindling. And however Gabinius chooses to position himself and with whom he aligns himself will very much determine their future. And it's such a gamble, sort of trying to control these men who all start seeing the vacuum and the opportunity and wanting to come in and usurp the power as it currently exists.
Oh, that past is everything. But like Ashur has told her after that one scene, it's not what defines her journey moving forward. So sometimes I believe that we have to let go of the past to be able to move forward. If I'm looking in the rearview mirror, then I'm not going to see what's in front of me. So it is one of those things that, I really had to confront that struggle, because that narrative is actually what she has to break through in order to be able to find herself in this new world. Well, it's an understanding. Both Ashur and Achillia have very parallel journeys that they're going on. They're both outsiders. They are both underdogs in worlds that, don't necessarily accept them or want them. So I think that's, I would even say that could be a reason why Ashur ended up choosing Achillia, because he saw a part of himself in her. So really understanding that both of them breaking through and finding new versions of themselves in this world, I think is something exciting that the audience will definitely be able to go on that journey with us for. Oh, wow. So it was challenging and it was definitely grueling, but what I realized is having a partner that you can dance in that way with helps you to feel empowered with new moves. So the only way I could describe is when me and Tarkon, that picture that you have of the both of us fighting, we found our dance steps together. And it took time. It took time for me to feel comfortable dancing with each one of the characters in this show. But when we found it and got into a groove, and it became so much fun. Even though we were beating the crap out of each other, that we see. And it was bloody and it was grueling. It was all the beautiful things that we love in the Spartacus world. At first I didn't realize this, but her relationship that she's really, really struggling with the most is her relationship with herself and her past. So I'm excited to see where she goes as a character, because even I, as an actress, I'm still discovering it and I'm still exploring it to really understand what it's going to take for her to let go of her past, what it's going to take for her to redefine herself and have a new understanding in this world, what it's going to take for her to finally accept that she's worthy. Well, they try and project that she's a slave, but she is not a slave. And she tells you in episode 1 that she has never been a slave. So I believe in that Roman society. She is just an outsider and an underdog, if you want to give her a title of any of that sort. She's a Cushite woman trying to find her place in a man's world that's led by Romans. So, really understanding how she's going to survive in those circumstances, I think is a really strong part of her journey. And the Romans do not make it easy for her.
Well, they're like some kind of old bickering married couple, really. They can't live with each other and they can't live without each other. But that makes for a really interesting dynamic, I think. They're joined at the hip in a shared ambition, but they have different visions of how to achieve it. But Korris comes to trust Ashur's rather thinking outside the box, eccentric ways of doing stuff. And that's certainly the case. And also their relationship just becomes closer through the circumstances that then are revealed throughout the season. There's some pretty wild stuff that happens to both of them. And they're there for each other. It's a very interesting portrayal of male friendship, I think, and actually a very sort of truthful one in a way, that they're not simply agreeing with each other all the time and thinking each other's absolutely marvelous. They see the flaws in each other, and they're not afraid to articulate them, and that makes for good drama. It's simple as that. It's conflict. Conflict between the two of them, conflict with Achillia, conflict with Calidus. All of these characters are moving constantly in this very small world, really, that we live in the show. And that's what hopefully makes it very engaging to an audience. This was a unique opportunity for me. As you may know, I've never even got a cuddle really in other shows. I mean, Outlander, I had a chair broken over my head. That was the closest I got to any kind of intimacy that you saw. And so this was great to explore that side of a character, their vulnerable, emotional side, that he's very, repressed, I suppose. I think he's repressed. We don't know his backstory, but I suspect he's been hurt very badly in the past. We don't know exactly how. I also think that the simple fact of the world of Rome is very volatile, and to form close relationships with somebody was very difficult. And also, interestingly, at that time, for there to be a gay relationship in ancient Rome, that was okay between a master and a slave, but not between two free men. And that's so interesting. And that these two people are taking an enormous risk in doing what they're doing. But what overcomes that is Korris's desire to finally open his heart and to let someone in. And that's something that's universal. We've all been in a situation like that where you're hesitant, one or other or both of you are hesitant to reveal yourself to each other. And then when you do, there's no closing that door. And that's the beauty of exploring real emotional, tender relationships in any show, and this is no exception. Yeah, well, I mean, I would definitely say he's not a fan at the beginning. Really thinks that Ashur's made a terrible decision, just a disaster. that he sees this as a pretty much guaranteed way of our house just crashing and burning. But he underestimates Ashur's vision, and also Ashur's understanding of Achillia. I think Ashur sees something in Achillia that he recognizes, and that fierce determination to prove yourself. And Korris comes to understand that and believe in it. And the first way he does is by fighting her. He has this big fight with her at the end of episode 2. And it's that starts his journey towards respect and understanding and eventually friendship with this person. And I think that's just it's just great drama.
Yes. So these shenanigans bring Cornelia and Caesar to town, and they have to colonize Ashur's villa to kick things up and get things going in their direction. Well, they're very much in love with each other. This was a love match, which is not usually the case with marriages in ancient Rome. And yeah, they're partners in crime. They trust each other and confide in each other and maneuver and scheme together. Oh, subhuman. It's very different. There's so many technical aspects that happen between the rigging and the blood effects that are physical versus what happens in post. And so a lot of my reactions to things from the pulvinus is I'm watching a tennis ball bounce around on a pole. So it's you have to conjure a lot in your mind to kind of give the audience that feel that you're really there. It's entertaining. It's sport. If things are lively and happening, she's intrigued, and if it gets boring, she's bored. She's unapologetically herself. She's just does and says what she wants when she wants to and how she feels like it. And I would. Ooh, but see, if I answer this, I'm going to give a spoiler away. Ask me later. 6 and 7. Just if you guys can, be patient for 6 and 7. I think it'll pay off.
Impressive. Yet offering falls short